Now, one last thing I want to mention is one of the reasons that the Fed is looking to cut rates in a week from now is because of the job market, how weak the numbers have been. We just got this massive downward revision, basically showing that no jobs have been created in the last year. It was absolutely horrible. Over about 900,000 jobs actually lost, not created. And now they're looking at lowering interest rates so we can magically bring the job market back. Like that's going to do something. But here's the real picture. Interest rates are only one piece of the puzzle, okay? There's still a lot of tariff uncertainty right now, which makes companies hesitant to hire, and businesses don't know what the cost of imports and exports are going to be in the coming months. Credit cycles are also tightening. Higher borrowing costs are making it harder for companies to expand or keep workers on the payroll. You have technology and automation reshaping the job world right now. Many workers don't have the skills needed for the new positions that are being created. And inflation is still a huge problem, which makes the cost of doing business for everybody go up. And those prices have to get passed along to the consumer at some point, because every person in business is in business ultimately to make a profit. Show me somebody who opens a business that doesn't want to make a profit, There's no motivation to keep the train moving if you're not making any money. Even if you are making money, if it's not enough to make it feel worthwhile, it's still not worth it. But yet the Fed thinks that lowering interest rates by a quarter point or maybe even a half a point potentially is going to really rock the boat and get businesses back on track and start hiring people like it's, 2018 again. Good luck with that. The rate cuts do make borrowing a little bit cheaper, but they don't magically fill job openings, especially with all the ones that have been lost lately. A lot of these jobs that have been lost are not coming back. We've been losing construction jobs. We've been losing manufacturing jobs. We've been losing trucking jobs. We've been losing a lot of jobs that are being automated right now. The tech sector is arguably hit harder than any other sector in the country. Then, of course, you have the immigration crackdowns. We just saw what happened with the Hyundai plant, and they took a bunch of people out of there. And a lot of these industries rely on undocumented workers, which is obviously not the right thing for any of these companies to do, but that's the truth about how things work. And so you got all these things that are happening simultaneously right now that are just making running a business much more difficult than it ever used to be. And so anybody who thinks that a small decrease in interest rates and the federal funds rate is really going to move the needle in this economy right now is fooling themselves. Even if interest rates were to go to zero, yeah, it would increase some businesses borrowing and help stimulate the economy, but at what expense? At the expense of inflation completely running out of control, which is already going to start happening if they lower rates. It's already out of control. It already is. It's just going to get more out of control. And then guess what? Employees say that they need more money because they can't keep up with the cost of living. Employers are forced to give it, otherwise another employer will. And then prices on everything goes up again, and the cost of living goes up even higher. It is a vicious spiral. It's called the wage price spiral, and that's what we're headed for right now if the Fed starts lowering rates again, on top of the inflation continuing to go up, guys. So get ready for this, because it looks like that's where this is going. I mean, they might keep rates steady at their next meeting, but even if they do, it doesn't matter, because inflation's still going up. So people are still going to need more money to continue paying for the increased cost of living, regardless whatever the Fed does. It's just whatever the Fed does can just make it worse. That's pretty much it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you don't want to wait for my next video to come out, check out this one on the screen right over here, and I'll see you in the next one.